Hi Facebook, YouTube, all those people out there. I watched a video today, a guide on the World Economic Forum. It's a 4-year-old video that was removed in regards to how we'll be living in the year 2030. And it mentioned things like owning your own, no one owning anything, everything's rented, everything's delivered to you by drones. You won't ever need an organ transplant because they'll print you one. Everyone's going to eat less meat and become vegan. For the environment, what a load of shit. USA is not going to be the superpower anymore. It's going to be a handful of different countries. People are going to get displaced all over the globe because of climate change and have to integrate into other countries. We're going to have to be more acceptance of refugees. I've got no problems with people coming here. Just learn to speak the fucking language and contribute. They're going to have carbon tax on anything that's fossil fuel related. We're going to be preparing to go to Mars because it isn't enough that we've destroyed this planet. We want to go to other planets and then steal all their minerals and all their precious metals and bring them back here and make more shit that we don't need. And obviously our values are going to be tested to breaking point. Now, this was all something that's projected because of technology and because of the way the world is. It's all this environmental thing, isn't it? They want to... Basically, the powers that be, the top people at the top, in their head, there's too many people on this planet. Now, I don't disagree, because we're constantly making people live longer than nature intends with science and technology and, medical advancements, etc., etc. So we are, in fact, becoming more and more immortal, even though it's going backwards now. But the thing is all these things, this particular video was on the World Economic Forum and has been removed. And the reason it's been removed is because everyone's talking about the conspiracy, the Great Reset. Resetting the money, resetting everything, the entire way we live. Now, apparently it's a conspiracy. Obviously that's that box saying that, and all the other people say, oh, it's a conspiracy, the Great Reset. Well, what a load of rubbish. Governments use shock doctrine to get their people to do what they're told all the time. David Icke talks about a thing called problem, reaction, solution. So you can take when a nation's in shock and fearing whatever's going on, which everyone's fearing this coronavirus thing right now, they're fearing it. It's fear. It's like, oh my God, oh my God. So when people are in fear, they're like, you do something. You're the government. You're supposed to do something. Help us. Save us. Ah! What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So then they go, oh, I'll tell you what, we'll give everyone vaccines. Well, people could come near me and I can get it. Oh, dear. What? Everyone can be tracked and traced, and if you go too near someone, you'll get fined. Or you'll get a message saying, oh, you were in close proximity to someone who had coronavirus. The NHS track and trace system that everyone's demanding to have. People were demanding that app. They were asking for that app. People were asking to be locked up. People were asking for lockdowns. Asking. At the same breath, people think that the government's so good, it protects you, it's everything that, trust governments? Why do you think there's a Magna Carta? Do you think the Magna Carta was written for something to do? Do you think America had a massive revolution against our fucking king? 17 whatever it was. Because our king was trustworthy? No. Why do you think we have elections? I know it's all this democratic crap that goes on. It's like it's infiltrated and it's tainted. We know it is. We know it's not what it seems. But the principle of it's there. That does mean that there is room for people to be corrupt. There's lines. There's a certain thing. It's like with the royal family. A lot of people have written to the Queen trying to denounce her from the throne. There's some kind of thing you can say that says, right, as the people, we're saying rah, 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 because that's what the Magna Carta's for. That's what it's written. So it was written because people act. But unfortunately, governments, powers that be and corporations take situations like pandemics, wars, where their population's in shock, and then the fear and the shock, they almost mould them to ask for the things that the people didn't want. You know, you turn around and said to the members of Parliament, what we're gonna do is we need you all to download an app because we want to know where you are all the time. We're going to track and trace you and see everything you buy and sell and rah rah rah. Even though they can do that with a warrant, but we're going to have people watching, or artificial intelligence watching, and you automatically issue the ticket if you speed too much. It's like these speeding tickets, you know. You get a speeding ticket for speeding too much. Well, it's a fucking camera. It's not a human being, is it? You know, it isn't always correct. So there's always going to be exceptions to that rule. You can't rely on automation and AI to make decisions for you. And that's what, there's a risk of this happening. Now, I watch a lot of scientific or sci-fi movies. Now, back in the 90s and the 80s, there was loads of sci-fi. Every sci-fi movie talks about this sort of stuff happening, right? And it does. And when you look at it, you go, wow, problem, reaction, solution. People are actually asking to be enslaved. People are actually asking to be locked down to save an institution that should have been funded correctly by our government to start with, and every winter is inundated anyway. It's amazing how every single winter sickness has disappeared from England. You know, I haven't heard anyone's got the flu, or a common cold, or sinusitis, or tonsillitis, or pneumonia, or bronchitis. Do you know anyone who's got any of those right now that's actually been diagnosed with that? No, you'd be diagnosed with COVID. You know, I don't doubt that there's a flu virus around. Of course there is, but you know, I work for a corporation that delivers to every single house in the country. You know, we deal with the coronavirus test kits that come back in a box, and we have to put them in bags and sellotape the bags up. The contamination risk's ridiculous. Apparently, coronavirus lasts on the surface for 72 hours. So why hasn't every single person in our office got fucking coronavirus then? Because they haven't. If anything, we've got it from NHS workers, which you expect. You know, when I was younger, I actually went for a first aid course and oxygen training at the paramedics station in Bedford. And after I'd finished my training, they actually asked me if I wanted to be a paramedic or trained to be a paramedic or technician. And I said, I'll have a think about it because I know I could do it. I went home and I thought about it. Do you know what? I'm too irresponsible. I go out and get drunk, I smoke the odd bit of weed, I go out clubbing. Can you imagine if I'd gone out clubbing one night before and then went to shift the next day and then someone dies on my watch? I would constantly be worried about, oh, was it because I went out and got pissed yesterday? You know, was I not my full 100%? It's a lifestyle being a paramedic. So I went, no, do you know what? I'm not that responsible. I'm not interested. So people who work in that industry, they do it because they want to work in that industry. Yeah? And they're special kind of people in some respects because I'm not that unselfish to do it. So I do appreciate the fact that they're under a lot of pressure and, you know, pressure that they kind of signed up for in a way because that's their job, right? I work for the company I work for. It's been Christmas since March. I'm not saying we're any worse off, but 9 months of absolute all the time, right? And then you're dealing with all the coronavirus tests. You know, the whole world is ordering stuff because shops aren't open. We're absolutely overwhelmed. Yeah, we've had to, you know, had to put some things in place in order to get stuff done. And we're still overwhelmed. But there doesn't seem to be any help there. You know, it's quite difficult. Because at the same time, we all love our NHS, but none of us would, I don't think any of us would mind paying more into its funds if our government wasn't spending it on the stock exchange and letting private corporations do what they do within it. It's all trust funds and trusts. It's not what it seems. It just does my head in. Basically, the world right now is using this global pandemic in order to reset everything. And it's not going to be long until you see it get resetted. Now, if you look at Star Trek actually live. They don't get paid. No one gets paid. Everyone works for free. And no one owns anything. Everything's free. There's no money as in such. But there's authoritarian constraints. You know, I suggest people go and look at films like Total Recall, Dune. What's that one where... Oh, I can't think who's in it. They inject something into their vein every like 3 or 4 hours to suppress their emotion. There's loads of sci-fi films. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't sit here and reel them all off. Like even just like The Matrix. There's loads of sci-fi films that if you watch them, they're about governments being sinister and using technology in order to enslave people and to control people. And when you see things like that, you look at the world the way it is, and it's like, hold on, we're setting ourselves up for a very big fuck up. I'm 47 years old. Now I might be halfway through my life by now. Not many people live to 100 or 94, right? Not many people do. I might do, who knows? I ain't got long left on this planet. I feel really sorry for the youngsters because, you know, well, think about our grandparents. They all went to war in order to save our freedoms, and then the flu virus turns up that everyone's scared of, and we give it all up. Oh, no, take my freedom. Take that, it's okay. Just take it, it's okay. I don't want to die of coronavirus. And it literally is that bad. The fear out there is shocking. It's so shocking. I think that scares me more than anything else, the way the people are acting. You know, I've had to sort of back off from a lot of it because it's just, I don't know. I'm sure other people feel the same, but it's concerning. So we all need to look at things as they're brought into fruition and question, because if you don't, we're going to be living in a very different and potentially nasty place within the next 10 years. Have a little think about it. Peace, love and light.